Hello and welcome back to another episode 17 of Confessions of a Gamer Girl podcast. I'm your host, Doom Cutie, and once again, I'm joined by my exceptional panel of lovely gamer girls. We have Ellie.
Hello.
We have Shay.
What up?
And today's very special guest is Little Motac. Mollie, welcome to COAGG.
Hello. I'm so excited to be here.
Oh, we are so happy to have you on and get into all the exciting things that you have been doing, all the games you've been playing. And it's an absolute treat to have you join us all the way from the UK, which it is, I believe, 10 a.m.
11.
11. Okay. The timey-wimeys always get me.
I mean, I only know what time it is for you because Ellie said it in an email, and then I was like, okay, well, I know the time.
I know what time.
Yeah, I know time now.
Oh, wonderful. Before we get started into a little bit more about Mollie, I'm going to go and ask everyone, what have you been playing this week? Ellie, what's caught your attention, doll?
I'm still on the mortuary assistant, actually. And it's been spooky. It's been spooky. But it's been really fun. I'm still devo that my first playthrough crashed, which is not fun. It's not fun. I spent like 2.5 hours on it and then it crashed. I came back to play it and it just wouldn't work, which is quite devastating. But I'm going to give it another go next week on stream on Monday night. And we'll see how we can go, because it's one of those games that you can continue playing, have different outcomes, different endings, different things to do. So it's only meant to last like 2-ish hours, and I think I paid like $20, but it is the game that keeps on giving. So I'm very, very excited to play it and see where I end up next time.
Who knew death could be so giving?
Yeah.
That's it. New career change. Who knows?
Get on it, Ellie. My days.
Yeah.
Shay, what have you been playing this week?
I have been playing my usual League, of course. I don't want anyone to ever think that I've forgotten League, but
that's just by default.
Trying to re-love Sims.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, I've been giving it my best. Right, I was like, you know what? I haven't played it for a little bit. Sims 3 was clearly, best one ever. Open world, we love it. But maybe I can love a little bit of Sims 4 again. It's I want something that isn't quite as actiony. So instead of shooting people or biting people in V-Rising, let's have something calm and possibly funny. I'm trying. Oh boy. The Sims 5 is coming out soon, and that's going to be a whole new disaster, so I can't wait to talk about that. Yay.
You can be a vampire in The Sims.
You can. Well, you can, right? But they're certainly less cool than V-Rising. I'm not going to lie.
Oh, fair enough.
Dodgy, in all honesty. And not like scary dodgy, just like, ooh, no thank you. Wrong dodgy. Yeah.
I see. Speaking of scary, there's nothing more scary than playing a racing game with your 5-year-old. Now, my youngest daughter would now like to play games like Mummy, and she, shout out to Xbox. The controller is good for my hands. It's good for her hands. We're ready. We're ready to go, and so. We're playing Hot Wheels Unleashed 2 yesterday.
Hot Wheels. Oh.
Good taste. We like it. Perfect.
And she's screaming. She's like, oh my God, this is so cool. Who's
she doing the lean?
Yeah. And she's like, Mum, who put a Hot Wheels track in the backyard? And I'm like, I don't know.
Shit, kiddo, I don't know, man.
Please stop yelling at me, please.
I was thinking like you were going to talk about getting like the controller hurled at you, and I was like, good rage, start them early, very nice.
Yes.
Oh no, we if that happens, they get the controller taken off them. So
fair, because they flung it out of their hands. That's something.
Well, they don't have the what you call it, the wrist.
Oh, they can't do the fling yet. Right. They'll get there. They'll get there. Don't worry. There's still time. They're young. I believe in you. You got this.
Oh, thank you. I feel supported. We're very supportive around here, Molly, and
I can tell.
tell me you've had a less horrifying gaming experience than me.
I apologize. I woke up sick today, so if I'm trying to mute my mic every time I cough, but just apologize. My voice sounds like this today. But I went a little bonkers in both the Steam Next Fest demo downloads and also the Steam Summer Sale. So I've basically played more games in the last month than I have in the last 3 years. So I've tried Lake, where you get to be a little mailman, which I love. I tried out this game called The Operator, where you get to be if anyone's seen Criminal Minds, you get to be Garcia, basically. I downloaded this game in early access. It was only 10 quid, and it's called Kebab Chef Restaurant or something like that.
Yeah.
And me and my best friend have been playing it, and it's basically it's like a sim game where you own your own little restaurant. You can decorate it. You have to cook all the food. You get to pick the menu for the day. You've got to go to the greengrocer and the market and the butchers and buy all the ingredients. It's for an early access game, it's a hell of a time. And I think we've only run into 1 or 2 bugs, considering how cheap it is and how it's not officially out yet. So top picks from me.
Oh, good. I'm glad it's been very, very cozy for you, especially with your impending illness. But we're here, we're persevering, and that's what matters. And for all of you audiophiles out there, Ellie's quite seductive with this tone of voice, so watch out. I should have put a disclaimer, really.
Yeah,
just a little bit. Seduction warning. Don't you worry.
So sorry, Ellie. I just want to send you tea and tissues and a hug, but not too close because I don't want to get sick. But I'll send you a water bottle that's been warmed up, and it's like a hug.
Oh, that's so nice. Yeah. It's human connection in my room of solitude. That'd be lovely. In sickness. The struggle.
Look, we're here for you in sickness and in health and in chaos. What can I say?
Bad bitches do get sick, apparently. Here I was thinking we didn't.
No, the world had to nerf us somehow, and it's gonna have to be me with my ADHD and you getting sick. Okay, if we were not nerfed, we would be too powerful. I
know. Yeah. The vibes are vaulted just for now. It's fine.
It's all right. The world can have a break for a second, and we'll get right back to it in a moment.
We'll get right back to slaying. Don't you worry. It's a slaycation at the moment, but I will be back stronger.
And Mollie, I see you've got that fantastic, massive mug. I love it so much. And it's got little stars on the inside. What?
Oh, the moon's in it.
So cute. I love it even more now. Okay, no, thank you. Guys, I need to buy more mugs, BRB.
Oh, literally, it's an addiction. I feel once you get into mug collecting, I have 2 cupboards, 3 shelves dedicated to just mugs. Do I use them all? No. But am I going to throw any away? No.
Absolutely not.
They're
perfectly good. They can hold liquid. And what if you have guests and they
what
need
if I
3
have
teas
200
each?
people over?
Exactly.
And they all want it. What am I going to do?
Cute. And what if Bruno needs a tea, right?
Exactly.
And then Bruno's friends need a tea?
Exactly.
Yep.
It's just it's the only way.
Then it's 400,
Oh,
makes sense.
That means now you need more mugs. You better go get some.
Yeah. I got to go mug shopping. What can I say?
It's true. They're going to send us over some cool ones.
Yeah.
Australia's got, I don't know, we've got okay mugs. I've got a weird cat one that if I try and drink out of it, keep in mind, guys, people bought these for me. If I try and drink out of it, it's got ears, so it pokes me in the eyes. I really question its design. I feel like maybe somebody didn't do any user testing there, but you know what? I've never made a mug before, so I'll just shut my face.
Maybe it's meant to go the other way, so the ears are under your chin as a drain.
The cat needs to look at you. So they'd actually stab me right here if I try. Because I thought that too. I was like, okay, maybe I'm doing this wrong. Let's turn it. Nope. So, smugs.
Yes, we're now a mug podcast.
Leave the Pokemon ones.
Oh my days. Okay, she always has to mention Pokemon every single episode. So we just.
How can she know? See the giant pile?
Doom, I've been light on you, but we can go. I got you.
Oh, you know what, babe, I'm fine. All right. If we can get someone from Pokemon onto the podcast, sure, go ham.
I will actually have a stroke on the spot, but that's cool. Let's do
it. Shout out to Pokemon devs. Right. Speaking of shouting out, we are shouting out our lovely guest, Mollie, today. And some of you might not know who she is. And if you don't, well, maybe just Google her because she has done some fantastic work in the space of gaming and we want to hear about it. Tell everyone who you are and what you do.
So I oh god, I'm so bad at talking about myself. I'm Mollie. Hello, Little Motec or Little Motec Gaming, basically everywhere. And I've been like a content creator / freelancer for like 5-ish years now. And basically most of my content and freelancing work revolves around better inclusion in gaming, whether that be like in employment, in games themselves, in marketing, in events, anything like that. And particularly for disabled gamers, because I'm disabled, so it's very much like an experience that I draw from. I have a condition, a genetic condition called Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, which basically means that my body doesn't produce collagen the correct way. So like everything about me is just extra stretchy, blood vessels, organs, tendons, muscles, none of it beholding itself together right.
So you're secretly Elastigirl.
Basically.
That's so cool.
Literally.
Confirmed.
I understand this is probably not cool, but in my mind it's fantastic. So I'm just saying.
Yes, I believe collagen is really important for the connective tissues in our body. So yeah,
what's
this
it ever
is the
done
science.
for you? You know, like.
Oh,
okay, probably connected us, but
just hold your whole body together. You know.
Honestly, when it can learn to hold my mind together, then we'll talk. Okay. Until then, I want to be Elastigirl. Sounds cool.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't describe it as cool, but it's definitely interesting. Like it basically, if you end up with like a chronic illness, you basically become like a mini scientist where you're like, oh yes, I read this research paper the other day where they finally found this one thing that I can't pronounce and that might lead to a medication. And so you just become like a little mini research scientist on your own time. So it's interesting.
Yeah, I did see your lovely interview with Sky News. That was particularly impressive. So if anyone wants to know a little bit more about that, head over to there. But what we really want to talk about is your current work that you're doing for an upcoming event for this month, because it's very, very special for your community.
Yeah, it's so July is Disability Pride Month. I think it's mostly in the UK and the US, but it is like worldwide, like Disability Pride Month in July. And so last year I basically was like, no one ever does anything for Disability Pride. Like as in like within gaming itself, like no one ever really celebrates it. No games companies really talk about it. And I think it's more just like even a lot of disabled people don't know that July is Disability Pride Month. And so last year I was like, well, let me see if I can like throw some pasta at the wall, see what sticks, and I'll try and organize something for it. So I ended up organizing what was meant to be 4 streams, but turned into 6, just covering sort of like this like podcast style where it was just covering different topics surrounding like representation of disabled people in media, accessibility in games, just disability in gaming in general. And amazingly, they were really well received because I think it's always a bit scary because disability is so varied and like there are so many like disabled people are the largest like minority in the world. And so it is that thing of like, I never want to do a disservice to the community by misrepresenting anything. But luckily they were really well received and everyone seemed really happy with it. And I think people were just really happy that like a disability pride thing was happening. And so then this year I went, okay, well, let's do it again, but we'll try and get more companies involved. We'll try and have more direct involvement with them. So this year I'm doing a stream event again. So it'll be various talks and panels and stuff on the 13th of July. And then on the 20th of July, I'm hosting like an in-person event in London. I say hosting very loosely. I've organized it and I'll be there, but that's about, I have a friend who is like hosting it in general because I was like, I don't want anyone to look at me or perceive me ever. Thank you.
Okay, fair. Good thing you're on the internet.
I know, right? Good thing, content creation. I love it. Good career choice. But it should be a good time. It's similar to the stream setup in that it's panels and talks and stuff again. There's different schedules for each one. But there'll also be some of our wonderful sponsors and also some people not sponsoring and going to be there to demonstrate some like accessible hardware and accessible tech and accessible in-game options sort of thing. And this wonderful charity called Special Effect are coming down who the goal of their charity is to help disabled people be able to either give advice or help them fund their own setups for games if they can't use like a traditional setup. So they'll be there as well, demoing some of their tech. And I basically just want it to be like disabled people can come learn from each other, network, like chat, and then also non-disabled people to come. And if they want to learn to like be better allies or accessibility advocates, anything like that, it's just going to be a good, fun environment to do that in. And that's on the 20th of July at the Sky Guild Gaming Space in Shoreditch.
That's actually super exciting for the gaming community as a whole. I think that people can get lost in their little worlds quite often, and we don't realize that there's specialized needs outside of what we have. And I think it was mainly drawn to my attention when PlayStation brought out their accessibility controller. And I read on the blog Quest Daily, their disability journalist, Rose, she went ahead and kind of tested it. And it kind of brought to light for me personally to be like, of course, I share my hobby with people who are differently abled than I am, and they require tools that are quite different than I do. And so with that development, it on top of that made me think like, what else is the gaming community making it accessible? Because there's such a vast range of what people might struggle with, that there needs to be this sort of development that jumps on board to help people with all different sorts of ailments, because gaming should be enjoyed by everyone. And it's fascinating to see those sorts of bits of tech that's coming forward. So it's fantastic that you've created this sort of event where people can explore. They don't necessarily, like you said, have to be part of the disabled community, but they can explore these other options that happen, because everyone should be aware that your hobby needs to sponsor other people as well. So with the panels happening on the 13th, what sort of conversations could we be expecting to hear?
So we've got, it's like a mix of, I wanted the event to be like, if you're disabled and you want to get a job in gaming, it's for that. But also if you are already in gaming and you have an interest in it, it's also for that. So we've got a mix of like, if you work in gaming, what accommodations can look like for you. Like,
that'd be really cool.
Because I feel like, I don't know if it's different in Australia and stuff, but over here, obviously workplaces don't want to do stuff for their staff. Like they just don't care. So like workplaces just don't tell their employees what they can get to like improve their daily work lives. So there's one like that. There's also a talk on the history of accessibility. So like how it started and where we are now. There's another one that I'm trying to put together called Disabled People Are Hot, which is basically about how like disabled people just want to be like desired and sexy, and we just aren't shown that way in media. Like it's always like a pity thing or like really sad or really depressing, when like disabled people, like I'm engaged, like disabled people are in relationships all the time and it's just not depicted in like a happy, joyous, sexy way. And so doing that one. There's another one that's all about how the history of like disabled rights play into games. So it's like a big variety of like disability history, accessibility history, what you can do now to help yourself with your disability and work, how you can like better your work-life balance and help manage your disability that way. So it's a big mix, and I didn't think we would get the response that we have, but so many people put like some amazing panels forward that I was like, I just never would have thought of that. Like I just never would have come up with that idea. So it's been really like, it's just been nice organizing it. It's been lovely, and everyone that I've like interacted with in regards to the event has been lovely, which is also a huge plus.
That's incredible. Well done, Mollie. I just, so what you're saying is that just for example, if there's a lovely person in a wheelchair and I say, hello, that's a lovely lap, may I sit on it? That I mean that's a wanted thing in the community. Is that what you're trying to say?
No, not quite.
Like it depends if you know the person, Doom. I think
a random stranger.
But I think that could be like wheelchair or no wheelchair. You should probably ask before you sit in people's laps. Like preferably know them.
I did.
Could be a good idea. Okay.
That was part of the flirt. It was part of the flirt to ask consent, and then the equation after that, it's up to them. Yeah.
So I actually really love some of the hardware that I've seen designed for disability accessibility in fighting games. So I teach into game design and animation, and one of the subjects I teach is actually designing for games. But that isn't just, how do I make a cool level? It's also like, what limitations are people working with? And one of the easiest ones I can share with my students that isn't always designed for is I'm colorblind. So when I have to play a game that's very red, green heavy, especially for health bars and stuff, oh boy, there better be a colorblind option or I can't play.
Yeah.
But then we explore further. What does that look like for other people? And I actually had one particular student who's super into competitive like fighting games, come in with like his own cool console and everything, do a full report on one of the top fighting game players in the world who has severe movement impairment, especially in his hands. And he has a specially designed like arcade board so that he can participate, and he kicks ass. Like he is top notch. So like it's becoming slowly wider spread, but I'd love to see more hardware accessibility and more accessibility features within games as well. I think that's just so cool.
It is like there are, it's a nice, I think it's very difficult because like companies, there is all this stuff of like empty gestures type of thing. Obviously like companies like even during like LGBT Pride Month, they'll be like, yeah, we love the gays. And then like 5 months over and they're like, all right, we're done now. We did our job.
You got 1 month.
Yeah. And I think it's very similar for like disabled people where like people will do something for the disabled community and they'll be like, okay, job done. But I feel like there's this huge power that companies have to do stuff for disabled people in gaming. Sorry, Bruno, I just hit him in the face. Where they can because there is such like ableism within the gaming community. Like it's just, the gaming community is just rife with bad people sometimes. And I think the more like stuff they bring out, like accessible tech, or they talk about their accessibility options and they make a big deal of it just through doing this stuff that A is going to sell more games anyway, and be really good PR for them. In doing that, they sort of make it known that they're like disabled people belong in gaming. Like we are making hardware for them. They belong. We want them to play our games. And so the people that do hate disabled people, well, they're going to be quite mad about it because they don't like it anyway. But then eventually it becomes sort of a quiet noise rather than this really, really loud, awful, quite loud minority of people who are just hating on disabled people all the time, because it's like, oh, well, my voice doesn't really matter because PlayStation are bringing out a controller anyway for more disabled people to play games. So I guess like it's fruitless for me to keep chatting about it. So like I think companies don't realize that even just by making money, they can also help us. Like, you bring out accessible tech, we will need to buy it. And then also it shows that you want disabled people within this community.
I totally agree. Would you also say that it'd be fantastic to see more representation within video games of disability as well? Because if I think off the top of my head, I couldn't tell you a character that necessarily comes to mind that's a main character, not necessarily for their disability, but they're just existing in that realm that are also disabled.
100%. Like, it is really like, I think it's one thing to let disabled people play your games and like make money off us and stuff, but like putting us in a game, the only game that I really play where they have disabled characters is Overwatch, and they don't like, it's like a lot of people use Junkrat as an example, where he's a artificial limb, and it's just never like a point. Like, he is just his character. Like, I don't think we know in the lore like how he got, like, we don't know much about his history, and it's just there, like, he is just existing. And I think there's like both sides of the coin where it's like, oh, Overwatch should make a big deal of it because disability representation, but then also like it's nice to not just be like, look, here's our disabled character, we put one in, can we get some brownie points? So it's like, it is really nice just to have disabled characters included in games and just see us there and be like, oh, cool, that's nice that you thought of, well, I don't, if you thought of that and put us in, that's amazing.
Sorry.
Oh, I was just going to say, so again, like, I was playing Sims 4 this week, and I haven't been on for a little bit, so I haven't seen a lot of their updates. They've actually gotten better with like adding in representation for like disability. So that's hearing aids, as Sam brought up in the chat, blood glucose monitors, and it was little things that I didn't expect. There was a new little tab, and I went, oh, cool, what's that? And I was like, oh my god, that's sick. And it's little thing to somebody who doesn't deal with that particular disability, but to somebody who genuinely wants to make somebody who functions the way they function, that's really cool.
It's really
thoroughly
cool.
Impressed. I'm waiting for wheelchairs, but I have a feeling that's going to take some intense programming. We'll see how that goes.
It'll be a lot more work than like just modeling and stuff. But it's exciting.
I think they had limbs as well. I think that started with modders, though. Modders wanted to obviously see themselves reflected in these games and have other people be able to do that as well. Sims being meant to be such an inclusive game. You can make anybody. So the games that are like Sims, I think, are taking steps in the right direction. But much like you were saying, Ellie, we've lost someone.
Oh, no.
There we go. But yeah, games that have like a set main character. I think I've only seen one, and I can't remember what it was, but I think they had a prosthetic limb, and that was the extent of what I saw. So
I play a lot of Forza, and they have prosthetics and hearing aids as character customization options, and you can see them when they are driving the car, especially if the car is like has no hood. Roof. And so I think that is incredibly amazing. Like the things that Forza have done for people who can't see properly, on all spectrums, has really been amazing. Like, I know there was that video I thought a lot of people saw where there was a blind person actually playing Forza. So yeah, I think that's really cool. And then I also wanted to show there is part of the Microsoft design toolkit. There is actually there's an image, and it's this one here. And basically it talks about we're including features of the game for, permanent, temporary, and situational issues of touch, seeing, hearing, and speaking. So, there are times when people are sick. There are times when, people are temporarily sick. And then there are people who have a permanent impairment, and, we want them to enjoy games as well. And I tell you what, my 5-year-old running up and down across the the screen, I mean, that's situational, you know what I mean? Like, if I can't drive, I feel like I can't drive my car with like one hand or something, like damn, like yeah, I think Microsoft is taking like a lot of steps in their teams to make it less tokenistic when we talk about like helping everyone game.
Yeah.
So Mollie, if other streamers or people in general wanted to get more involved with Disability Awareness Month, what would you recommend?
Oh gosh, like a whole bunch of stuff. I feel like if you're talking about like non-disabled people wanting to get more involved, I feel like
either way.
Yeah, I feel like a big one is like following disabled creators and just learning, because like I think now that the month is like over time getting more attention, like again I said like a lot of disabled people didn't even know it existed because it's just not chatted about. Yeah, like it just like so many people don't know. So I feel like now it is becoming more known and talked about on social media. Like following disabled creators is great because now so many people like put up like disability history 101 videos, or they'll do videos on accessibility throughout this month as like a big push for promoting accessibility in gaming. And also I think that's like one of the biggest things you can do is support disabled creators and also people within the industry. I feel like like I mentioned earlier, there's like the very loud minority of people that just hate disabled people. And I think one of the best ways to tackle that is allowing disabled people to have a platform to basically be louder than those people. And so I feel like that, and also learning there are a bunch of creators that make videos on how to be a better ally to disabled people, how to like approach your workplace about being more inclusive, or even oh my gosh, what was the last one I was going to say? Or even just like learning basic accessibility stuff. Like if you're a game dev, I think like for indie devs, there's no way they can have as many options, say, as like The Last of Us 2 or something like that. But even just learning about getting feedback maybe from your audience about what accessibility features you can put in your game is like a huge one, because it's the disabled community, particularly like in the UK, the disabled gaming community is so tight knit. Like we all talk to each other, we all chat. So as soon as we find a game that's like accessible and doing really cool things, we're all like, yes, this is the game. Everybody play it. Everybody buy it. Everybody go get it. Look at this amazing company. So it's like everybody just ends up. It's like it's noticed if you're trying and putting in the effort to include us. Like it doesn't go unnoticed. And so I think that's really just like the smallest things can be huge, because we're still at such a stage where disability inclusion is so not considered that like what it is considered is like, oh my god, that's amazing, thank you so much. And so it's just wonderful that it is growing, and particularly within indie games. Like there are indie games now that have more accessible options than like big AAA $1 billion budget games, and it doesn't go unnoticed that some people are putting in the effort and others aren't.
So you definitely like to see a bit more effort from outside of, you know, the normal type of things. I've seen even with Harry Potter, what's the one that you love, Doom?
Hogwarts Legacy.
Hogwarts, yes, how they put in the spider, the arachnophobia setting.
Yeah.
Because I believe that apparently a lot of people are so afraid of spiders that they can't even battle them in video games, unfortunately, which is terrifying. And even that is a level of accessibility. I think that anywhere is a good start, but we just need to keep forging forward and including a lot more people, because everyone wants to play games and they want to play games comfortably. And I think that you're very inspiring in that way, Mollie, of just bringing to light that it doesn't have to always be a grand gesture, but also let's have some grand gestures. It's not going to kill them. It's not going to kill them.
Yeah, I think it is. I actually made like a thread of it. Also, sorry if you can hear my dog snoring. I'm trying to stop him. I did a tweet thread the other day where it's like, I think it's sometimes ironic that like big companies won't always do something to enable disabled people to work for them. But I do think it's important to have these big, like AAA billion-dollar companies talk about how important accessibility and disabled people are, because like again, it is that like very loud minority of people. I think when you have these big companies behind you, it has a positive, regardless of like if they're doing, even if it's just for show and they're not actually doing anything for the disabled community. It's like a net positive to have these companies come out and be like, yeah, we think disabled people should be able to play our games. Like, it's like the simplest thing, but it can have such a big impact because disabled existence is just politicized no matter what, like through government, through like social policies, everything. Like, it's so politicized that I feel that even just saying you want disabled people to play your games is like a political statement at this point. And so it just is really, it's big when companies say that, even though it's so small, like it's not actually doing anything to help us. It's huge within the gaming community because let me just move this dog. There we go. Just snoring into the mic. But it's just huge because it does have this effect on the community of like, yeah, actually disabled people belong here. Like, that's fine. You can all please stop saying the R word and the S word in games. That'd be great. Thank you.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, that really leans into quite a number of areas. So we're talking about game development. We're also talking about businesses hiring practices in gaming, and how they're empowering, a diverse range of staff members. We're also talking about, if you are going to make a game and you are going to highlight any disabilities, you probably should have a person or at least one on your team that is experiencing that in their life.
Or even have someone you can call on, like oh my God, I've forgotten the words, but somebody who can guide you through representing that kind of thing. We do the same thing for race. Yes, thank you. We do the same thing for race. We do the same things for gender. Actually having.
And I think that's where, if we can support the gaming creators who do identify themselves as having a disability, then, that if we kind of support them, then, the gaming company is going to be like, hey, how about we reach out to this creator? They really like this type of game. I've seen them play XYZ. Maybe they can help us make the game better for people with disabilities. And then I think that's empowering overall.
Yeah, I think some games are getting better at it, where they will reach out to like accessibility consultants and like a variety of them, because again, disability is so varied. And they are getting better, and it's wonderful because like a bunch of people now get to like help make the games that they love. And so it then means that they can then see people that are like them playing those games and loving it and enjoying it. Because I think gaming, like, it's essentially like, it is a community thing. Like, even if you're playing like a single player game, now that everything's online, it is an online experience because you go on TikTok or you go on like Twitter and you see other people playing it and you're like, oh my God, look, all these other people enjoying the game. And so I think that even just making stuff accessible and bringing on consultants, it is this big community effort, because like, you're not just coming on to make the game accessible for you, you're making it accessible for your community, and it's really like it's really nice to see.
I don't want to put you on the spot here, but what would you say are the kinds of things in games that you feel like would like are missing or would help in general if you could only put a few in
terms of like options and stuff? Or I think like it's so difficult, because I actually had this conversation with someone like almost a year ago, where it was like picking, like, if you're an indie developer, say, and you're like, okay, I want to make my game accessible. Again, there's so many budget and time restrictions that you can't do like The Last of Us or God of War level accessibility options. I think for AAA companies, like stuff like God of War has set the standard where like, if they can afford to do this, if they have the people that can do this, why can not all AAA games do this? And sometimes that has to do with time. Like, if a game's been in development for 7 years, like accessibility was just not that big back then, so they wouldn't have even thought of it. So unless they like scramble to find the time and the money, it won't happen. But like AAA games that are coming out now or in development now, I feel like there's no excuse not to have that standard. And for indie games, it very much depends, because there's like, you can make your game accessible by design. So like, for instance, Shay was talking about being colorblind. You can specifically use colors that won't affect people who are colorblind. So it's like you are making your game accessible just as part of the design, which will mean that you don't have to then be like, oh, what accessibility options can I put in? Like, you don't have to put in, say, a colorblind option, because your game is already set up. It's good to go. And because there's so many options, it's more just like working out what your game is and what will benefit it best. So if it's like a lot of movement, a lot of combat, it may be good to have like auto combat, or it may be good to have like if it's a what do they call it, like quick time action game, you can add in like an extension timer sort of thing. So it's more, what is the design of your game? Can you make it accessible within itself? And if not, depending on what your game is, adding in options from there.
I don't know if you've played it, but there's a game called Wildflowers, and it was designed with accessibility in mind, and quite a few different types. So, sorry. So you can go fully voiced or no speech, large subtitles, large text, adjust speech. So those are pretty standard. But even down to the controls, they've purposely made it so that you can use like your keyboard and mouse setup, but just one hand. So if you don't have both, you're all good. You can still play. Of course, it's compatible with controller. It's got like a whole bunch of specialist stuff in there. And when I was playing it, I guess I never really looked for accessibility in a game, despite perhaps needing to. And feeling the ease with which I took in the information was a big change.
Yeah.
Like, instead of focusing on all the ways I need to be better to go around things that could be a barrier, just getting to play and enjoy it.
Yeah.
It was fantastic.
It is nice.
A couple of people in the chat here have mentioned Souls-like titles. So Sam has said, I wish all Souls-like titles had an easy or no death mode. Those games are so rich in story and beauty that just isn't accessible to so many. Now, I actually need to speak on that, because I don't know if it's my age. Maybe that's my barrier. I don't know. Maybe it's the old reflexes. Maybe it's my skill. I don't know. But I don't identify as having, any sort of physical barriers to playing Elden Ring. But I tell you what, stepping in there with no pause menu, no quest log, just, it's not for me. But you know what?
Yeah.
I wish I could turn it on. Maybe just have it like at base level. It doesn't have all those things, but yeah, I honestly, I would really, really enjoy that option. Yes, Dolphin in the chat has hit the nail on the head. Alana Pierce, who was actually on our very first episode of Confessions of a Gamer Girl, shout out to her. She is getting so much hate for saying that Elden Ring needs at least the option, like a pause button. Like, what games don't have pause buttons that aren't live? Like, you know what I mean? Like, Call of Duty doesn't have a pause button, but I just, a person shouldn't be getting hate just because of that. Like, that seems really ridiculous to me. But yes,
What sort of comments? What sort of hate comments have they been? Are they just, because I understand with Alana Pierce, obviously she was part of the God of War development team. I don't understand why, bless her, but she always gets such misogynistic comments, because I think that there's some male gamers out there that are so threatened by a woman who holds such a high esteemed role in gaming and development. They just can't handle it, right? So it wouldn't surprise me that these hate comments are coming from a place of misogyny rather than gaming hate, and I think everyone is entitled to their opinion. I'm the same with Souls games. I have not even bothered attempting them. They're hard, long-winded. It's just not something that I want to use. I use gaming as relaxing. Like, I'm not going to go and play a Souls game, but not like knowing that there's no pause, like to me as a gamer, like, bro, that makes sense. What happens if I need a piddle? Like a gal needs to piddle sometimes.
Yeah, well that's another thing as well. So she said, she shared, oh no, it's Alex's tweet. And he said, I just watched a game developer say that playing a game while having a kid could be considered a disability. Video tomorrow. And Alana has retweeted that with the comment, having a kid can be a situational disability where accessibility is concerned. If you need to pause a game because your kid is running around your living room, but you can't, you'll have trouble playing games with no pause menu. Here's a bunch of info for anyone who's genuinely interested. And no, just trying to rage and not just trying to rage bait, lol. And yeah, people aren't happy like that. Oh, be a good parent and don't play video games when your kid is around. It's called having a responsibility.
It's called sometimes your kid's asleep, you hear a scream and you got to drop everything and go. Like even when your kids are supposed to be doing nothing, they're sometimes still doing something.
Oh, like, is having to shit a situational disability?
It can be.
I mean, if you have IBS,
yes.
Like, what if you do? Like, this is So anyway, apparently people don't own a dictionary or can't access one because they don't know what a disability is. But yeah, there's just differing levels. So yeah, it's like I showed like this image that was up before, right? So there's situation, temporary, and permanent. So anyway, anyone who has like half a brain in their head understands what that tweet was about. So, but apparently we're still talking about it. Here we are.
Yeah.
It seems so strange to me that people even care. Like, you don't have to use the pause button. It's okay. Like,
like just don't use it if you're that against it. Just don't hit pause. You're good.
It's okay. Just like some games have an Iron Man mode and the normal mode. And if you want to go Iron Man, fan-fucking-tastic, you do you. And if you want a non-stressful version, you don't. And everyone's happy. I don't see the issue. It's just a pause button.
Yes, it is just a pause button. It's not that serious. But I would like one. Thank you. Bandai Namco, thank you.
Just casually calling you out. Thank you.
I really would, please, because I mean I do have the game and I just can't play it, and I really want to because it is beautiful,
I think
maybe on the computer with a mod. You can do that, right?
Yeah.
Are there like disability mod makers?
There would be. There'd be so many.
There are some, I think. I don't know if there are any for a pause menu. I feel like maybe, like if it's possible, I feel like that would be one of the first mods people made.
Well, if it hasn't been made, you're welcome. I don't know how to do it, so please take it. Shay, make it. I don't know.
No, man, I can make visual stuff. Okay, it comes to programming, and like I might as well just set it on fire. We're not doing this.
Just start again.
No.
It is I think the Souls like community is so just like scary. Like I'm like, because it is just like they want to make it a competition of like who could be the best at this game that we were meant to play for enjoyment, and it's like, mate, I just want to be here to have fun. Like I just want to wave around my little sword and have a good time. But it's like a competition of like who can have the worst time and who's punishing themselves the most to complete this game.
Oh, it's very masochistic, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. Like, why are you trying to have a bad time in a hobby that's meant to be a good time?
Exactly. That's hitting the nail on the head there. It's like, don't take it so seriously, homie. Like, chill.
Or again, if you want to take it seriously, you do you. Don't expect anyone else to do the same. We experience this stuff differently. And yeah, cool. Some people want that really intense. I hope you've got a lot of time to put in because you've got no pause menu and you're going to die a lot. And other people just don't have that time.
Yeah.
We spoke about it the other week, how our lack of time really dictates what we play. But then if you put on lack of time, lack of accessibility, man, that game's got no chance. That's not happening.
Yeah.
That's a big one.
Well, there you go. There you have it, folks. We've been on this for a little while, but it's such an important topic to talk about. So we really appreciate your expertise on this topic, Mollie. Yeah. What have we got? People. Okay, save scumming. So it's like when you save like in Baldur's Gate 3, I think people saving before they make a decision, and then if it's bad, they just reload it.
Hey, Pokemon, all right? I'm sorry, I know you said not to bring it up, but like, you save before you go into the Elite Four, or you save before you go to like one of the legendaries, because if you miss it and it flies away, cool.
Maybe I want to romance all the characters. You know what I mean? Like maybe I'm greedy. You know, I want my cake and eat it too. You know? Like
if anything, it's a strategic tactic.
Yeah, I would agree. It's something wise. It's the exact same as this is gonna out me as a freaky deaky, but I'm really into reading about Mount Everest. I really enjoy Mount Everest, and I enjoy the human psychology when it comes to scaling Mount Everest, because as we were discussing in the green room, I am not a cold girly. I don't like being cold. And so a big old mountain where all you are is cold and you're forced to walk with like no good snacks. I don't know. It's just not for me. So I love reading about people who are mental enough to take on the challenge. And actually within their own community of people who are scaling this big old dump truck of snow, is even them themselves are like, oh, if you do it like in this sort of capacity, you're nothing. Like if you've got your Sherpa, you've got your oxygen, like it's nothing. It's just a bunch of rich people flying in, climbing some stairs and leaving. And I'm like, even in like extreme sport, do humans have this thing of like, if you don't suffer the amount of near death for your craft, oh, you're pathetic, you're useless, you haven't even done it. And that like extends to gaming. Like, damn, let me save because I want to experience everything and I don't have time to go back and get my resources that I almost lost. I think just people need to calm down and realize, like you said, people play different ways, different levels. And I'm sorry, but them suffering to the point of like throwing control through a wall does not make them any more of a gamer than me being cushy with my controller on my sofa playing easy mode. Leave me be.
Videos, Ellie. So your Instagram community have quite enjoyed your cushy gamer mode.
That is right. Like that's all. I've got to be comfy. Yes. Like sometimes I'm a sook. Yeah, and it's a hobby, and I want to be comfy, and I don't want to like. So many people try to peer pressure me into playing Souls games, like so many, and now it's like a joke within my community of like suggesting Souls games. I'm like, I'm sorry, I'd just rather simply eat like, I don't know, a pickled onion than, because I'm not a fan of pickled onions, then go and play a Souls game. Because like, come on, like let me chill on my Fortnite and my spooky horror games that are not, you know, hard enough that I want to tear my hair out. I want to relax by getting jump scared.
These
that makes sense.
I mean, I don't know what it feels like on the other side of things, because these probably sound like first world problems to someone who actually has a severe physical incapability to have a good time in games. But I think in regards to like the gatekeeping and like this like meta way of completing games, I think we all experience that that prejudice, I suppose, and discrimination from you know peers that we think that we're equal to, but obviously we're not, which sucks because we should just all be nice.
I think a lot of the like whole like, oh, if you're not having a bad time gaming, you're not gaming. I think a lot of that whole ideal links a lot to misogyny, because I feel like a lot of like when men like think of women gaming, they think of like cozy games like Stardew Valley, like Animal Crossing, all that, like games where the whole aim is just to have a good time. You're just chilling, Sims, no like scary evil monsters or anything like that. And I think so a lot of it like I think
depends how you play.
I'm just depends on that odds.
I think like a lot of it comes from like misogyny of men like seeing women having a good time and like enjoying a hobby where they're like, we have to be the best and we have to like climb to the top of the ranks, and then like Animal
Yeah,
Crossing
I
comes
think
along and it's just a good time.
well, yeah,
Animal Crossing was like, hey, you want to trade a shirt? Yeah, sounds good. Cool.
Yeah.
I'll give you a fruit and you give me a shirt and everyone's happy. We're good. We're done.
I think you hit the nail on the head. That's probably like the foundation of a lot of this view, because when you think about competitiveness, that's a masculine trait, you know. And then if you think about emotions, joy, having fun, that's a feminine trait. But women can be competitive and men can be cozy and having fun. Oh, God, goodness me. Have a laugh, mate. Like,
yeah,
come on.
I think that's the thing. Like these competitive, just give yourself permission to like have a good time. Like give yourself permission to enjoy a game where it's just like you're just wandering around trading fruit for a shirt. Like just allow yourself to, like, it doesn't take anything away from you. It doesn't make you any less like good at games. It doesn't, you can go play your souls, but then you can come away and like if you're like, oh, I don't want to play a game where it's going to stress me out today. If you just want to come along and like have a little farm, like give yourself permission to do that and like have a good time. It's
that dream of owning a home.
Yeah.
I can live out my fantasies of home ownership.
It's very relatable.
Or you could be like, oh gosh, I cannot remember her name, but this particular streamer defeated Elden Ring with a dance pad.
I remember that.
That's so badass.
With a dance pad.
Yeah.
Oh, but you
So,
know, she wouldn't be a real gamer because it
cool.
wasn't, you know, a computer like setups to standard or a controller. Because dance pads, of course, traditionally are for girls, therefore can't be a real gamer, I'm afraid.
What? Hold on. I want to show this. I'm
being sarcastic.
Oh yes, I know you are. Wait, how do I? We're going here, and we're going here, and we're going to here, and
we're on the
sharing
side now.
Oh
my god!
Oh, it's so good.
Dude, she would be so fit after. What the heck?
I can't even beat the tutorial boss.
This is the humble beginning of one streamer's quest to be
Rebecca
one of the
Valentine.
most
There you
video
go.
game bosses in recent memory.
I love how people get so creative like that. Like that Fortnite streamer that every time I think it was Fortnite, he got shot in the game, he rigged up a Nerf gun to piff him in the back. And then Rave Kid, who went viral in the pandemic, that he also was really cool as well.
She's tackling every single boss in the lands between, overcoming agonizing self-imposed challenges, like fighting without necessities like camera movement control, and foregoing the use of things like blast.
You find fun in the fact that it's very different.
There just aren't enough keybinds on the dance pad for all of them.
Look at that.
Yeah, so she
phase 2 of the day.
Yes.
Oh, and that's not all. This hero did the whole thing at level 1.
Nice, we got the tier. This guy seems kind of rude. He's kind of dead. That's what he is. Hello, my name is Miss Mika. I'm a variety streamer.
That is crazy.
It's
but
insane.
Good for her. Good for her. Get it, queen. I'm very happy for you. However, I would still like my pause button. Thank you.
Maybe in the middle of the dance pad there.
yeah. Just thank you so much for joining us today, Mollie. It's been an absolute pleasure. And again, thank you so much to our chat for being awesome as always. And Ellie, what are you getting up to this week? Are you doing your Monday streams? You're back on Mondays?
I am. I had an absolute ball with us on Monday night for our first birthday. That was my official return back to Monday nights, and what a glorious return it was. I had so much fun, gals.
A lot of fun.
So thank you so much for that. And it'll continue Monday, and I think I want to give the mortuary assistant another whack on stream, because people always get a kick out of seeing the differences with their finishes and like their clues and things. So it's really fun at a community point. We can all chat and stuff. So I think I'm gonna continue on that. And I just love the spookies and I love a quick game. So that's what I'm thinking.
Amazing. And Shay, what are you up to?
Well, I finished off Rolling Hills, so my plate is now open for another game, which I'm actually kind of excited about because we've got the Next Fest going on. We've got the Summer Fest going on at the moment. I'm going to go get my little mitts on things. I think it's going to be great. I'm also considering, like, I really love interactive Twitch things for games, essentially. Like, I want my viewers to be able to join in and do fun stuff. So there's a few things for Sims that I can play around with where people can cause disasters or make decisions and things like that for your Sims characters. And I'm like, okay, we can cause some chaos with this. But other than that, I'm just doing my usual dual streaming on Twitch and TikTok. TikTok is there's a lot of people on that platform. It's scary. Like, then they come and talk to you all at once. So yeah, no. Other than that, I'm just doing my usual streamy goodness. I've got a couple of surprises coming up, but I gotta wait a sec before I can declare them. Thank you.
Exciting. Well, I will be watching you, Shay. Don't you worry.
I'm watching your mortuary assistant. I cannot wait. My Monday nights are free, so I can actually sit down and watch a stream.
Yes, come say hello.
Yes. I am linking both the girls' Twitches in the chat right now. If you want to, feel free to head over and see them. I don't stream like they do. I do this podcast. And,
is this still streaming?
This is yes. This is. I am streaming right now. Hello, Twitch and YouTube.
Yes.
Mollie, this week, what is your what's your regular stream schedule?
So I haven't streamed in like a month because I've been organizing the event. But when the event is over, I will back to streaming 3 times a week. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So very excited for that. But for now, I basically am doing like I'm gone old school and gone like pre-recorded. So I'm putting out like YouTube videos and TikTok ain't old school, but YouTube is. Putting out TikToks and stuff because my life has just been overtaken by this event. And so once the event is over, we're back to streaming.
Amazing.
Very good.
Just to confirm, you've got the online panels on the 13th. That's correct, isn't it? Because even we can view that one at least.
Yeah. It'll Twitch did. Oh my god, I can't speak. Twitch.tv/littlemotac. It'll be on the 13th of July, starting at 5 p.m. UK time. So I'm trying to work out what that would be. It might be actually too early. I think that's like 6 a.m. your guys' time. No.
Did you say 5 p.m.? No, we're only 9 hours in front, so that's not too late.
Okay. Then
Not really.
All right.
And then if anyone's over your way on the 20th, you can then go and hang out with the event in person, which would be so cool. I hear that there's going to be so many fun things. I'm so excited for you.
Amazing. Yeah, and there's like tickets. There are paid tickets, free tickets, basically whatever suits your budget. I didn't want like finances to be an issue if people come in. So if you can't afford like, oh my God, sorry, this dog is just if you want to come but like we're worried about the price, there's free tickets there for anyone to grab. So that's on the 20th of July.
Well, I wish you all the best. It's very exciting, and thank you for bringing this to the gaming community.
No, thank you for having me on this podcast and let me chat about it for like ages. I'm very grateful.
It's okay. We've talked about many things for ages on this podcast, and it's the least we can do. So thank you very much again. Thank you to our chat, our live watchers, our post-live watchers, and also our listeners across the internet. That is all for Confessions of a Gamer Girl this week. Take care, and we will see you all next week for another episode of Confessions of a Gamer Girl podcast. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.